Make sure to check out all of our authors on social media. You can find links to their profiles in the description box. Make sure to follow so you don't miss any bookish updates.
All right, so welcome everybody. Today, back to Wednesdays with writers. My name is Amy Prokopis. I am a young adult author of the sci-fi book, The Arena, and I have a urban fantasy coming out in the fall called Guardians of the Sixth Gate. So that's me. I'm joined today with my guest, Kennedy Sutton. We have quite a bit in common, so I'll let her introduce herself and then we'll jump into all those similarities.
All right. I'm Kennedy Sutton. I'm really excited to be being interviewed by anyone for anything. This is the first time I've ever done that. And I am the author of the Silver Locket books, which is a series of historical romance set in the golden age of piracy. And it's 8 books. It's 7 books and a prequel that I've already written. And so I'm just putting them out as fast as I can get them edited.
Oh my gosh, that is so much work.
It is.
7 books. Wow. The longest series that I have, and it is all already written like that one, is 4. So, but they're long books. They're fantasy, so they're all like 300, 400 pages. So
Oh yeah.
they're long, but it's a little different when you're trying to like weave them into stories like that, because you have to tie up a book enough so that it's its own book, but also leave room to like tie into the sequel or the whatever comes after. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love the whole piracy thing too. It gives me very like it reminds me of being a kid when all the Pirates of the Caribbean books came out.
Oh yeah.
Not books, but those movies came out, and every summer there was a new one, and it was just so much fun. I loved that kind of historical period piece storyline. And you can't go wrong with pirates. You can do so many things with a pirate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually what drew me to piracy and that period in history was actually because of like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies and this idea of like the Disney swashbuckling pirate. And it's so far off base from like actual historical piracy.
Yeah.
And so you still get so much swashbuckling adventure. And I always thought, but like we don't need to all the fantasy elements of it. Always sort of like, I don't know, bothered the historian in me.
I'm sure. I think that's really fun and unique about your books, because you're right. So often with the pirate theme, we've seen all kinds of books the last like few years. Pirates even came through a little bit with oh, I forget her name. Oh no, I read all of her books, but they came back through with like a mermaid theme and all those fantasy elements, and we haven't seen that twist on it that is more historically accurate in a really long time. So I think that's really cool that you're bringing that back into the storyline. I love a good historical book. I really do. There's so much fun.
And trying to like make it historical and also not bog everybody down
with facts and stuff,
with the back information and like, oh, but you need to know about the politics of the time. It was very much character driven, and that's how I've always began. So
that's how I begin too. I usually start character first. I'm mostly a pantser. I'm doing Camp NaNoWriMo for July, and this is the first time I've ever written a very detailed and complete outline for a book. I usually start an outline and then decide, I know how the first 4 chapters go. Let's start and just go and let the characters drive the plot. So
I always tell my editor, I know what I'm doing for the first 30,000 words, and then after that I'm just kind of staring at a screen going, now what?
Exactly. Okay, where do we go from here? I usually know the ending, but there's that point in the book, usually near the
muddy middle.
Yes, where I go, okay, how do we connect to the end now?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So did you say that you used to be, was it a kindergarten teacher?
Yeah, I was a kindergarten teacher, and then for a while I was a 2nd grade teacher. And then my first degree is in art with an emphasis in art history. So
so there's
a little bit of everything
stuff. That's really cool because I also started in teaching. Right now I'm a school counselor, so I've sort of like woven my way through.
Hmm.
I've taught such a variety of things, all at the high school level. I started in German, which was really fun. That was probably my favorite subject to teach. But I also had an English degree, and so they pulled me every which way. I ended up teaching English, English as a second language, and then I went to literacy skills for a while before moving into counseling. So
Well, that's the
we
life
have
of a teacher. You
oh
go where they
yeah,
put you.
exactly. So you understand that super well. So I can only imagine um like your journey to writing coming from that. Were you writing while you were still teaching?
How I actually began writing is sort of an interesting story, and it's more tied into motherhood than teaching.
Yeah.
I I was teaching until I got pregnant with my first child, my son, who's 2, and he never slept.
Oh my gosh.
He had colic and food allergies,
Oh
and he
no.
didn't sleep longer than 90 minutes at a time till he was well over 1. Like,
Oh
just a miserable
my God.
baby.
For you.
And
A lot of time too.
yeah, and my growing up, I was always really interested in sailing and also in in sea songs and folk songs. And
Oh,
so while he was awake all night long, I would rock him and sing him all of these different sea songs.
oh my gosh.
And then I started thinking about who might have sang those songs. And that's how these books
Oh,
I started writing them. And once I started writing them, it became the only thing I had going on besides being a stay-at-home mom. And all of my
yeah.
characters became my best friends. And it was the thing I looked forward to that made me feel like me. And
Yeah.
so that's how I started writing. I've always written stories, but never anything serious until I was home with my kids.
My journey, not so much to writing, but at least publication was kind of out of motherhood also. That's always been the plan to be a published author. That was plan A ever since I was a little kid. And it's not exactly like a career field that like write a resume and you just go get. You kind of have
Yeah.
to, it's some of it's, well, a lot of it anymore is luck,
Hmm.
how much work you put into it, timing even. And so I was trying to do the traditional route. And then it was after I had my son also too. Um, and COVID hit and we were at home so much. And it was when everyone, like the great resignation started, when everyone
Yeah.
was reconsidering like their time and where they want to put their energy and how much that was worth in relation to things like pay and the workplace. And that's when I thought, like, if I have a son now, things aren't gonna get like I'm not gonna find any more time than I have right now. That's just not gonna be something that just happens in my life. So if I
Yeah.
ever want this to happen, I need to take initiative and just attempt it. And so
Hmm.
that's where self-publishing came in for me. And I tried it out and I actually really like self-publishing. And I don't know if I'll ever go the traditional route now. It's nice to have that control over what you put out.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually never even considered traditional publishing.
Really?
I read about querying and query letters and getting, agents and all of this different stuff, and that's not who I am. And I
Yeah.
think that I would, not because of rejection. Like I said, my first degree is in art. I'm
Mhm.
here for rejection, but
Oh
it
yeah.
was just it's like, is that what I want to dedicate my time to?
Yeah.
And so I once I decided to publish, which I wrote all of these books with no intent to publish. I
Mhm.
wasn't going to. And then I joined this group on Facebook of some amazing romance authors, and they were like, "You've written books, why haven't you published them?" And my husband was pushing me to publish, and so that's why I went, you know what, okay, what's the first step to publishing? And I was put in contact with my wonderful editor, and that's kind of how it
Oh
bloomed.
my gosh. That's really cool. So you found your editor before you really started the process?
Yeah, yeah. My editor came first. It was like,
Oh
what's the
my
first step to
gosh.
publishing? And somebody went, you should get your book edited. And I know this lady, and now Lynn's my editor.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's amazing. I think especially in the indie publishing world, there's such a great community. Everyone is so supportive. And I know you and I met on TikTok, and there was a TikTok that kind of circulated for a while about how like we need to support each other because we're not actually competing. It doesn't matter like whose book is being read more than someone else's, because we all like a lot of the times they're the same readers, and they pick up what's interesting to them. And so there is no competition in what we're doing. It's a very unique career field because normally there is some kind of realm of competition, and there's just not. And so it's been so nice to have that community. Mine's mostly through TikTok now, where I feel like really supported. I also have my husband at home who really, when I told him about my plan to self-publish, he really he wanted to, like, he got really serious about it quickly with me and he helped me figure out all those little steps and like the budgeting and things. So he was a huge asset in the process for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my husband is my first beta reader for everything I put out. He's read my books almost as many times as I have. And as an author, you know how many times we've read our own books. And every little thing I change, I'm like, can you read this chapter again? Can you read this again? Like, I've done something different with this character. Can you read this whole book again? And he's always just like, yeah, I will. And I'll fill out your questionnaire. Thanks, Kate. Like,
oh my gosh. You can't beat that. That's so special. Oh my gosh.
I'm the first and only romance books he's ever read. So
oh wow. So I want to learn a little more about like your books and your series.
Okay.
I know we've talked about pirates and stuff, but give me your pitch.
Well, my pitch begins with Jane. Jane has been a lot of different things, and we meet her in the middle of kind of the worst of it. And so Jane is going by a chosen name of Jane Polk. She's a prostitute in this port town and has been for almost a year now. And you get these sort of allusions to this past that she keeps trying to run away from. It's like, well, this is pretty bad, but it's not rock bottom. Last year was rock bottom. And then on one night, that's not an exceptionally bad night, just another bad night in a long stream of bad nights that she's dealing with. She hears about this ship that flies no colors, and they have crew in the streets desperately seeking men to join up. They're like, they are clearly running from something. They've been attacked. They've lost a lot of their crew. They barely have enough men to sail this thing. Like, please, literally anybody, come get on our ship. And Jane starts thinking to herself, maybe I could pull that off. Like, I'm pretty tall. I'm pretty, I have a boyish figure. Maybe with the right clothes, no one would look twice. And so she lures a boy into an alleyway under the guise of having a nice time, and then beats him over the head with a piece of firewood, steals all of his clothes, his weapons, his money, and grabs the first guy on the docks with this flagless ship and says, my name's Dixon, and I will do literally anything you tell me to. Like, please let me join up.
Oh my gosh.
And that's how our story begins. And so it's mostly swashbuckling adventure, but there's this captain. And our captain, Bennett Holt, is a man of 26. He seems a little too young to be captain of a ship, but Jane's realizing that piracy is a young man's game. They're all under 30.
Yeah.
And he is immediately attracted to Dixon because Dixon isn't like every other pirate he's ever met. Most pirates become pirates because they have to. And this was Dixon's first choice. Like, he's this well-read young man with no tattoos and no sailing history whatsoever. And he showed up and was like, please let me be a pirate. I am so excited to be here. And the first book is really them getting to know one another. It's adventure, and then punctuated by these very deep, detailed conversations of Bennett and Dixon getting closer and closer. And all the while, Jane's like, I have got to get off this ship because I am falling in love with the wrong person. Like, couldn't he just be terrible? This would be so much easier if he were terrible. And so the book kind of continues with this forbidden romance and this charade that the captain doesn't even know that he is a part of. And so it's really all It's all sort of mysterious.
I love it. I'm sold. You have me for the whole 7.
I'm so glad to hear that.
It sounds so much fun. I like the kind of like the mystery, like longing after somebody plotline too. Because that's so relatable. I think that's how,
Oh yeah.
at least in like the early stage of romance, I think everyone kind of goes through that. I like him, but does he like me? Question before it ever actually comes to fruition between two people.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I love that. And it
Yes,
sounds
and
a little
lots
like
of
a slow
like
burn.
lots of passionate kissing and then pushing him away. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just can't. And of course, like, internally, it's all because there's this big secret to keep up. And poor Bennett's just like, maybe someone's heard him before. Like,
Oh my gosh. What a tease. I love that. That's so fun. Oh my gosh. So do you have I guess there's 7 of them, so you're going to be on this train for a little while.
I am. I'm putting my first one comes out on Thursday, which is
Oh my gosh. I'm
crazy
so
and
excited
super
for that.
exciting.
Yeah.
And like you said, I've suddenly gone a little viral on TikTok, and so release days become even more exciting because I have
I'm
almost 900
sure.
pre-orders.
We should talk about that. So I just kind of happened upon your very first video where you had that interaction with a very not very nice person.
Yes.
And were upset about it. And so I came across you just on my For You page, just kind of like happenstance. And I really I stopped everything and watched the video like a couple times because I could just like feel it, because I think as like debut authors, everyone has had some kind of similar reaction. I know that I've had a few, not that anyone has been directly mean like that to me, but I've had a lot of like, oh, well, who's publishing your book? And I go, oh, well, I am. And I've done XYZ. I've done the editing. I've done all these professional things. And they still look at you like, but you're publishing it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get well, it's good that you write romance. That's an easy genre to write in.
Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah. My gosh. There's a whole lot of assumptions about romance out there. And I
Yes.
think in some ways that has maybe in some ways has helped like the indie community, because romance is such a huge genre. And I
Yeah.
think some people don't like to say that that's what they read. And so
Oh,
they might be more
absolutely.
likely to pick it up on like Amazon, where like indie authors have cheaper prices often,
Yeah.
or they have it in ebook form so they can read it and they don't have to be like physically holding this book with this like steamy scene on the front.
Oh yeah.
But people totally read it. I wish some of those attitudes would go away.
Yeah. And I think
Regarding
there's a lot of
romance.
assumptions about authors in general too, in any genre, is that there's this assumption that if your name is on the spine of a book, you're famous and you make a lot of money. And
No.
it's like, no, like the vast majority of authors are just like, they're breaking even. They're like, I paid the cost that it took to put out the book, or they're just making enough to like maybe quit their day job. Isn't that the dream? Like,
Oh, it would be so fun to do that full time. That's always been my dream.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
it takes more than what people think to do that. Because like you said, you have to, if you most of us are doing the same steps that like traditional publishers go through. We might go through a couple editors even, and usually we hire a cover designer, or we spent time, sometimes money, to get good enough at it to do it ourselves. So there's a lot of money that goes into it that people don't think about. So when they hear like, oh, you sold 100 books, that's so cool. And you go, yeah, that's great. But those 100 books covered pretty much like, about the cost of putting the book out there to begin with. So you haven't actually made a net profit. But people hear 100 books and they think that you must be something great if you've done that then X amount of time.
Yeah,
so it's funny. There's a lot of misconceptions about authors in general. You're right.
Yeah. And I certainly held some of those until I decided to do it. And then it was like, you meet authors And they're like, oh yeah, I've been an author for 25 years and I also still work as a teacher, or
That's true. hmm So what was the biggest surprise or learning curve for you in this process? Because we're both pretty new at this. So
yeah.
it's still pretty fresh in my brain. I don't know about you, some of the things that I've learned and will do differently, but what would that thing be for you?
I think that mine was the editing process, actually, because man, I knew from the beginning that even though I have a pretty firm grasp on grammar and spelling, I cannot edit my own work
It's
for the
hard.
life of me. Or I
Mhm.
can print it out and I can make a lot of edits and changes and additions, but I'm always going to miss so much stuff. And a good copy and line editor is priceless.
Oh,
Like
you're so right.
they really just bring your work from here to here, and all they do is they put notes in the corner that say, but how were they smiling, or
Right?
what were they thinking in this scene, and you're going, oh yeah, I guess I could write about that, and then you write a couple sentences and it's like, well, this is objectively better than it was before.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that authors had that
Mhm.
until I hired a copy and line editor and got that and was just like, oh, so they don't just write a book like that out of the gate. It's a team
Mm.
effort.
Yeah, I
And
always thought that some, especially after reading some really great books, I've always thought, wow, this author writes amazing. And then now that I'm on the other side of it, like you, and you realize how many different editors they go through.
yeah,
Woo, it definitely, they're not that good from the beginning.
yeah, exactly. Because you have to have somebody it's a different way of thinking
You're
to
right.
be
Yeah.
able to look at a piece of work and say, you know what would make this better?
hmm
And editors, their whole career is doing that. And I think that as authors, we can do that more easily to other people's work than to our own.
Oh my
And
gosh. I
I
found
also
so many
did,
typos in mine.
I
And then
also
I sent it off and my beta reader sent me back like a ton of typos. I was like,
oh
oh,
no.
that's stupid. It's like I went through and I thought there were no more in there. Nope.
I send out my art copies after I do my first round of like line and copy edits from my editor. And then, you send it off for proofreading and you
Yeah.
get it back and you read it a couple more times. And every time you read it, you find it's like 30 errors and
Gosh.
then 8
Yeah.
errors. And it's like, I sent my art copies out with like
Mhm.
80 errors in it. That is just like, oh no.
It can be really disheartening, but I try to think back to the community because
Mhm.
especially in the indie world and readers that really enjoy reading self-published books, it's kind of they enjoy the process of it. They like getting those error-ridden art copies because they're almost like collectible and it
Yeah.
makes them feel like they're a part of the process. And it's so honest too to like put work out there that is not 100% done,
Yeah.
and be open to like suggestions and stuff. It makes everyone feel like they're included, and I think that's really special about the indie world because it's not quite that way in the traditional world. Even they put out art copies, but usually they've been through quite a bit of editing at that
Yeah,
point.
they're real close to finished.
Yeah, and it's a different clientele that get those art copies than like for us. Like we'll send them out to, I
I'll
know a
send
lot
mine
of,
out to anybody who
yeah,
asks. Yeah.
pretty much. Yeah, anyone who like I just open up submissions like, hey, who wants one? And
Yeah.
it pretty much goes
I
out to
think
the list that comes in.
there's something that I might do different in the future is how I got my ARC readers was I literally made a video that just said, who wants to ARC read a book about pirates? And
Uh-huh.
everybody who left a comment saying I do, I sent them a copy of it. Like
Uh-huh.
it's like absolutely have at it.
Yeah.
And it worked out for me. But like in the future, maybe a form would have been a good idea. Like
Yeah, I did a Google form for my beta readers, and I think I needed to push it more because I put it on like the front page of my website. I made it real big. The link was like huge. Click here. And I didn't have as many people fill out the form as I thought. So I think for me in the future, I just need to publicize it more. I
yeah.
did, I think, one or two, and then on my Instagram, I put it out, but most of my beta readers were coming from TikTok. And so
Yeah.
I think I needed to push that more based on like where my community was. So
hmm
that's been, yeah, a learning thing for me too.
Yeah. And social media, I feel, is such a huge deal in indie publishing
Yes.
compared to traditional publishing because, like, here's your author's face looking
Yeah.
at you on the screen saying, this is what I've written and this is why I think it's special. Maybe you'll think it's special too. And so you end up feeling like you know all of these people. Like I'm followed by so many people on TikTok, readers and authors and reviewers, and they feel like my friends. And we've
Me
literally never
too.
spoken before.
Yes, I love
And,
it so much. I'm with you.
and
I don't think I'll ever go traditional.
yeah. And then you have like, you know, your Facebook and your Instagram and stuff, and that's not where my people are. All of my people are on TikTok, and so that's where I hang out. And then occasionally I'll just update the other pages.
Yeah. Everything, at least posts that's going to my Instagram right now has slowly gone from pictures. I tried to like incorporate like a mix of both, but it has slowly dwindled. And so now it's pretty much everything that comes from TikTok. I take my TikToks and I upload them as reels, and that's about all I do now. Yes. So I'm in the same boat. Most of my community is on TikTok, and everyone is so supportive. I've been very fortunate. Hopefully I don't jinx myself, but
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate, and I haven't had a single mean or even like creepy message.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's
I
been
think that
amazing.
Book Talk and TikTok as a platform in general
Mhm.
makes it so that everything's so short and your comments have to be so short that people who have something negative to say just flip by.
Yeah,
And
I
so
think
you
they just
really
don't. Yeah,
miss
they
it.
filter it
That's kind of
out.
nice.
I think also the way the algorithm works on TikTok makes it so that you only see the things that might be interesting to you. And so
Yeah.
it's really positive in that sense. So those people that tend to leave all those negative comments, kind of, they just don't, they're not on your content.
Yeah, they
And
don't
so
see
it's
it.
a really positive place for me.
Absolutely. I mean, I put out a video uh when I had 39 pre-orders on my book, which I was already really
Your
excited.
viral video, let's talk
Yes,
about
my
it.
viral video.
I love it.
And I had 39 pre-orders and I was really excited about it. I was talking about it with some of the other moms at the toddler gymnastics class where I take my son on Mondays.
Mhm.
And most of them were really excited for me. They're like, I can't believe you're putting out a book. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then there's this one mom and she said, I bet you never even sell 40 copies. And so I made this TikTok saying, I am so close to 40 copies. Like, can we get 2 more so I can have 41? And I fully expected to get 41 from that video because that's what Book Talk is. I thought, yeah, certainly 2 people are going to pre-order my book to help me out.
Yeah, that's what we do. We help out.
I didn't expect 50,000 people to see that video.
Oh my God.
I didn't expect 900 people to pre-order that.
You're up to? You're up to 900?
900.
Oh my gosh. I remember the last count that I saw was like 150 or something around that number. That's insane.
900.
Oh my
My
God.
sequel. These people haven't even read the first book. My sequel that comes out in mid-August is already up to 204 pre-orders. Like,
oh my God.
it's absolutely insane. And
I'm so excited for you. Just a little jealous, but I'm so excited. That's amazing.
I keep telling authors I feel terrible because it's like we all want that to happen and I have no idea why it happened to me. And
oh my gosh. I think it's because you're so authentic online. I think that's just the way the community is. If they see people just putting themselves out there and being themselves, people feel like a trust, and it kind of goes back to that, like you feel included in the process.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing. I think it's a huge testament to the person you are.
And also just to Book Talk and who those people are. Like how absolutely insane that there are that many people who, and they told their friends about it and their friends came and pre-ordered it. And everybody who ever thought about maybe reading a book about pirates came to that video and pre-ordered it. And
it's so cool.
I'm just
so cool.
It couldn't have better timing. I was number 6 in historical romance on Amazon for for a brief moment. I was like outranking Outlander
That was when I saw that, oh my gosh. Because
absolutely
when
surreal.
everyone says like historical fiction, they think Outlander. It's like one of the first and maybe only things
it's like, and my indie published book about pirates. Like,
yes, that was a huge thing being about that book. That's so cool.
It also, like, even my parents have been, they're not unsupportive, but they're just kind of like cool that you're putting out a book. And when I told them that this would happen, they were both just like, excuse me? I was like, I know.
Oh my God.
I'm a bestseller.
You are. And you don't even have a book out yet. That's
I know.
my mind.
It's absolutely crazy. And isn't it like what all indie authors are pushing their first book? Because you're putting out a series and you want everybody to read the whole series. And now I have 900 people who are going to have my book delivered to their Kindles immediately tomorrow at 11 p.m. That's just insane.
Oh my gosh. I need to finish up. I'm reading In the Margins. Via audiobook. And I'm like an hour from finishing it. And I need to finish it so that I can free up some space and time to read all these other books that I need to read. I need to read yours when it comes out tomorrow and be on the train, the first ones to read it. I need to be, I want to be in that community. Oh my gosh. I'm just so excited for you. That's like how else, like that's the best way to start a writing career.
Yeah.
So cool.
And we'll all get to say, like, how did this all start? It all started because one lady was mean to me at toddler gymnastics, and the whole internet rallied behind me. Like, and
that's the coolest story ever.
Yeah. It's absolutely, I wish that there was a formula that I could tell people, like,
I know there's not really like
you go viral. And it's like, I went viral totally by accident, never expecting to ever go viral. Like, most of my videos get 200 views. And that was like, I was always excited. It's like, my video got 250 views.
Right? Yes. Oh my gosh. I think that's so cool. It's almost as good a story as your pirate stuff.
Thank you.
I think I'm just excited to read that. I can just imagine what kind of adventure she goes on from there. It's just such a neat backstory.
And
so cool.
I really just, it's hard to even express how much I care about these characters and writing them and creating them and who they are. And, I feel like I really, as you read more of the books, it's almost like a mystery, like a noir. You get these little snippets of different people, and Jane's story really just kind of grows and grows and grows. And, since they're already written, I can tell you that by the end of it, it's like, it's night and day, and yet she's always the same. And, so it's just, I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about other people reading it. I have this group of ARC readers, like 14 of them, that are like banging on my door for the next book all the time. And that feels really good.
So the first in your series is out tomorrow.
Yes.
Thursday, June 29th. When is the sequel out?
The sequel comes out August 18th, Feathers at Sea.
Oh my gosh, that comes out so soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to put one out every 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
It's really something.
That's a lot of work.
It is.
You can so do that though. It sounds like you've got all the things running and you've got such a group of people there helping you to do it. I think you could do it.
Yeah, I think I can too. My editor is right now, she's on this like cross-country trip, and she's still editing books while she's doing it. And so I keep getting little updates when she has service. She's like, I'm in the Yukon, but I wanted to let you know that I've gotten through chapter 22.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am so excited to read your book. We are just about out of time. We have literally like a minute left on the countdown. But oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So for everyone, I guess, listening, all of Kennedy's social media will be in the description box, along with the links to both of those books, because they are up for pre-order. So go and be one of those 900 people that is currently pre-ordered, because it's going to be amazing. And we can all chat about it online on our TikToks, which is where you can find both of us super, like, pretty often. We both post quite a few times during the day, so you can
Yeah.
chat with us there about Jane and all of her adventures. I'm so excited. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining me, Kennedy.
Thank you for having me, and I really hope you like my book.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure I will.